Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conversations with MM. This is Marivir Montebon. I hope you had a wonderful Halloween celebration yesterday and in the past days. It's already November 1, and so it's actually All Saints' Day in the Christian world. And, in the US, Halloween is a very widely celebrated event, tradition, and it's the time when little ones and big ones spook you with these costumes, this witchy vampire-ish costume. But what is really the history of this Halloween celebration? Halloween comes from the word halo, meaning sacred. Now, this is a Celtic tradition. This is ancient, way before Christianity, when indigenous peoples in the Arctic region, in the cold areas, ward off evil spirits, because you see November is like the beginning of the cold season, really, and they try to ward off the deathly scare of winter. So they spook out the bad spirits by wearing scary clothes. So that's like a superstitious belief being done in the ancient days. And so now, fast forward, it's modern times, postmodern times. It has become a celebration and creativity of little children wearing cute, cute costumes. It's a creativity endeavor of families and old people too. So, but really, in the Christian tradition, uh, 31 is celebrated, Halloween is celebrated, and August and November 1 and 2 is All Souls Day and All Saints Day. So this was created by Pope Gregory the Third. He designated November 1 to honor all the saints, and including, and on November 2, the All Saints Day, or that's for your the souls of your beloved departed. So that's the tradition, and it has become very commercial already. You see costumes being sold in modern day societies, like, of course, the US, or even in the Philippines and other places um, who buy into this tradition because it's fun, it's for children. And so this is something that I particularly look forward to, because, as you see, I was in Toronto 2 weeks ago, and the young and adult, the families were celebrating uh, Halloween, advanced Halloween, and a birthday party rolled into one. This one. So these are Filipinos who have always said know how to party. And so this is the birthday celebrant Suri and her dad, and that's my uncle at the back, Uncle Laudet, who's wearing uh, a lawyer-ish costume. He bought a wig, and that's Suri. She's 4, and so this is my auntie. She's a nurse and a doctor in Toronto, and that's my uncle. And the children, of course, were having fun. They wear costumes, whatever it is, to celebrate Halloween. And there you go. That's Suri again, and my auntie, and the some Filipino friends in Toronto, and the kids. Oh, the thing with this is, like, the kids have have a sugar get into sugar high, because the older people will give them candies, which is, for me, not a good one, because, like, you make the kids crazy and hyperactive. So I think we should rethink that kind of practice. There they are, singing. And there's also costume And so we have Little Red Riding Hood, a mommy wearing that. And then my aunt, look at that. My aunt is a queen or a fairy queen. We were laughing like crazy. She bought the house down. And here's another friend who's like I don't know, a joker. And this one, a daddy wearing mommy's clothes, wearing curlers. That was so funny. And there's Captain Hook. And there's Grandpa becoming the Joker. Scary but funny Joker and clown. There you go. It seems to me that the adults were having more fun than the kids, right? So thank you so much, people of Toronto, my auntie Tamarichi, Bulongaita, Uncle Laudit, and my cousins, Joanne, JN, LJA, and Bjorn, for that wonderful time with you. 2 weeks ago, 2 weekends ago, I was there. And so here in New York, there's also a big celebration. In fact, there's always, I think for the past 2 days, there's been a Halloween parade in the city. So, but the more shifting into the more serious celebration, New York has received 21,000 refugees or asylum seekers from Latin America, particularly lately now from Venezuela. And they got in Texas, and Governor Greg Abbott uh, put them on buses and sent them here in New York. And so the Franciscan church in the city actually welcomed them. This is on 6th Avenue, between 6th and 7th Avenue, the St. Francis of Assisi Church, which is run by Franciscan priests. They welcomed the immigrants, and I was there last night. They tendered up a Halloween party for the children. And so it's so heartwarming to see them. They're being treated to coloring books and toys, and they were given food by the priests. It's actually a community effort, and so to welcome them. And it's very heartwarming because I was able to speak with this lady. Her name is Greece. She couldn't speak English, and so we say our sent. I would ask my question in English, and I would put it near her cell phone, and would the cell phone would translate it into Spanish. So she would answer me. She would understand and answer me, and then her answer would be translated to English. So that's how we understood each other. That was a very unbelievable time for me last night, and I was glad I went there. And so the priests were giving children New York pizza. And this is, of course, shout out to Father Julian Hagudilla, and Father Kevin. And the office of the New York City Immigrant Affairs was there in the person of Commissioner Manuel Castro. So we had a short conversation with him. And so you see, this is something so heartwarming. That's Hermano Bill, that's meaning brother. So he opened a box of New York pizza, and the kids were like so excited. So I think it was a very honorable way to celebrate All Saints Day and Halloween, to welcome the immigrant families. So before I had a conversation with NYC Commissioner, again, NYC Commissioner Manuel Castro, and I'd like to share this with you.
Well, as the Commissioner of Immigrant Affairs, I began to work on this issue the moment it started. But really, I've been working on supporting newly arrived immigrants, the moment I started. And for years before that, I was working as a nonprofit leader. The fact is that New York City welcomes tens of thousands of newly arrived immigrants, and we're proud for that. But this was a political situation where the governor of Texas decided to take it upon himself to bus people, perhaps against their will, because perhaps wanting to go elsewhere. That's what was different. But again, the city of New York will continue to support immigrants that want to make this their home. That is really unfortunate, and the anti-immigrant incidents and speech that we're hearing, that's unfortunate, but they don't represent all of New York. And so we want to make sure that, yes, the asylum seekers and migrants are protected, but that they also know that this is a small minority of people. Most New Yorkers are welcoming, they want to help them, they empathize with what they've been through, they see themselves in them. And many like myself have family or have ourselves gone through their experience. So we're here to support them, but yes, we're providing the protection that they need because, again, in New York City there's no room for anti-immigrant hate, and we continue to fight against it. How long is In fact, the moment immigration is politicized, the way it has been by Governor Abbott and others, that's when we start to hear anti-immigrant hatred, rhetoric, and that's scary. It's scary for everyone involved, people who work to support immigrants and the immigrants themselves. So this has been top of mind for a long time. We want to make sure that people feel protected, that they feel safe, they feel like this is truly a sanctuary city. And for immigrants, whether you arrived recently or for decades, safety is priority. And so they're protecting each other and they're looking to their communities for support as well. And so I'm just proud that New Yorkers, day-to-day New Yorkers, know that these are some of the most vulnerable communities and they want to support. In fact, the moment immigration is politicized, the way it has been by Governor Abbott and others, that's when we start to hear anti-immigrant hatred, rhetoric. Well, here at the St. Francis of Assisi Midterm and through the Migrant Center, of which they house, there's been a tremendous amount of support they brought. Regular New Yorkers have been bringing coats because it's cold outside. They bring donations, whether it's cash donations or food, and it's just tremendous that New Yorkers are taking it upon themselves to support groups like these across the city, to support asylum seekers and others who are in need. And to be frank, that's what makes us really proud to be New Yorkers. We are known, as tough, but we're also very kind people, and that's what I've seen. That's most of what I've seen, in fact, and that's why I'm proud to be working with St. Francis of Assisi, all the volunteers, and the community that supports asylum seekers. Immigrants in New York City, regardless of your immigration status or how long you've been here, you get a lot of support. Whether it's shelter, whether it's NYC, whether it's food assistance, medical assistance, school assistance. So it's important to say that because we're not just doing this for asylum seekers. We're doing this for a lot of immigrant communities here in New York. Mm-hmm. Of course, this is on the news. Asylum seekers are coming from the border. Right. They're being used as political pawns. So we want to make sure that they know that here in New York, we're not going to be using them as they have been used in Texas or in Florida or in other parts. Here, you're welcome to New York City, and you're going to have a community of support.
But like public perception, sir, is that they come here using the taxpayers' money, and is the city gaining from them in terms of labor, or what is the plus minus of being such a warm-hearted New Yorker to welcome the immigrants?
Well, as I said this over and over again, we don't have the choice to say don't come or stay there, because New York City, as it should be for all states, should be open to anyone that wants to come here. We're not the federal government, right? So we don't control immigration controls. We want to make sure that people continue to feel welcome. And if they arrive here and they have certain needs, we don't want families or children sleeping in the street or not going to schools. So that's why we are very supportive.
That's great. Thank you for your work, sir.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So that's Commissioner Manuel Castro for you. That was my interview with him last night. And so he was very inspiring about his pronouncements of welcoming newly arrived immigrants. And so, speaking of the leaders behind that event, I'd like to welcome to the show our the leader, the chairperson of the New York, what do you call this? Migrant Center of New York. Father Julian, welcome. How are you, Father? And thank you again for joining us. Second time.
Thank you, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, congratulations, Dre.
Yep,
And thank you for what you do. It's a lot of effort.
yeah. I'm not the chair of the Migrant Center.
I'm sorry,
I'm the
executive
director
director.
of the Migrant Center at the Church of Saint Francis of Assisi.
Okay, corrected. I
We
stand
are
corrected.
we,
Sorry.
we are a ministry of the church.
You are the Migrant Center of New York is
No,
a
no,
ministry of the church.
the
What is
Migrant
it?
Center at the Church of Saint Francis of Assisi.
That's the name. That's the legal name of it.
Yep,
So you are the executive director.
I'm the director. Yep,
No, not executive director.
the executive director, just the director.
Okay. So last about what happened last night, it was your party for the families that
Uh-huh.
were living nearby, Father. And so what was the what was the purpose of that?
Uh, See, we have to remember that the
Mhm.
Day of the Dead or the Dia de los Muertos is a
Yes.
big, celebration in the Latin American culture,
Yeah.
especially in the Mexican community.
Hmm.
I've been to Mexico at the border, and even at the border, children, adults celebrate the Day of the Dead or the Dia de
Hmm.
los Muertos with costume wearing and face painting and games and everything.
Hmm.
So we thought that since these are newly arrived immigrants in New York City, uh,
Hmm.
we are going to celebrate the Day of the Dead or the Dia de los Muertos with our newly arrived sisters and brothers. So last night's events was, coming together for
Hmm.
meals and and community building and celebration of the Day of the Dead.
That was really heartwarming, Dre. And it for me, it's like what the church should stand for to welcome everyone.
Mhm.
And so, I did you receive support aside from the community? Did the city government provided support for it or
No,
budget?
it was an independent project. The Franciscan Friars and the Church of Saint Francis of Assisi, through the leadership of the Migrant Center, organized the event. And if you can see, there are friars, friars in their habit like mine, who serve
Yeah.
pizza. Uh, I think the greatest impact of the event is this.
What
This is
was?
their first Halloween, their
Mhm.
first celebration of the Day of the Dead in New York City.
So that it will create good memories for the children and hopefully
Yes,
feeling accepted.
definitely. The fun part was that we had a raffle towards the end of
Yeah,
the
I was there. I saw that.
towards the end of the meals of the gathering of
Hmm.
the celebration.
Hmm.
It's a wonderful the kids enjoyed it. I mean, we didn't have
Yes.
expensive gifts.
Yeah.
We
And
I think
so,
the most expensive prize that we had was a $10 toy from Jack's. You know,
oh my gosh, yeah.
a Sophie doll.
Mm-hmm.
A dozen of it, and mind you, and the smiles on their faces, the joy. I mean, it indescribable. The
It's priceless for you, Dre, right? Like to
priceless. Yes.
make them happy.
Yep.
So, how sustainable is this, Father? I was able to talk to this lady. Her name is Greece Quintero, and this is her son, and
Mm.
she's breastfeeding. And so I asked her, "What's your plan?" And it's kind of a very long shot plan. So how sustainable is being able to help the families?
I would say this is just a temporary situation.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I hope after the elections it's going to stop. It's going to end.
You mean the busloads
The
of
busing of migrants at the
refugees coming
border.
in?
Yeah.
Oh, oh.
Now there, but what I heard from a group that welcomes migrants and refugees at Port Authority, that they're only getting one or two or three buses a week.
Mm.
At the height of this, they were getting about maybe 3 to 4 buses a day.
Oh, that's a lot. And
Yeah,
each bus would contain how many people, Father?
30 to 40 people. So
Oh,
that's why the
mhm.
number has gone up to like 22,000.
Right, right. So where are they being placed right now, Father?
They're living in hotels and single room occupancy and nearby in shelters in Brooklyn and Queens in the Bronx. So they're spread all over the city.
But
But
that, the cost of that is shouldered by the city.
yes,
But I don't think
sure,
it's going to be forever, right, Father? I
that's
mean,
what I said. It's
funds
temporary.
are limited.
That's why I said it's temporary because what if the buses the busing from the border stops?
Right. So,
So
Father,
what is there for those who are already here? For those who are already here, who got an asylum case, for example, can pursue that. Others,
mhm.
sad to say that we don't know what their future is going to be.
So is the migrant center helping them in terms of legal
In
documentation?
terms of legal documentation or application for their asylum, we
Mm-hmm.
haven't gone to that part yet. Remember, because of the pandemic, we shut down our legal services. So, and considering that uh, application for asylum is
Mm-hmm.
a long and tedious and
Yeah.
costly process. So, without funding from outside, we will not be able to do it. And of course, a number of our kababayan lawyers and friends of mine are saying, "Can we help? What can we do? What can we do?" So I have to look into the situation and say, to what extent can we assist them legally?
So you need a battery of lawyers, Father?
Yes, we need volunteer lawyers, but we haven't gone to that point yet because I'm waiting for a response from the city, and I want
Yeah.
to hear what extent does Catholic Charities in New York City is doing. They're processing them, but I don't know where are they now in the process. That means what I'm trying to say is that I'm sure they're overwhelmed with the number of cases.
Mm-hmm.
For example, you know, migrants would say, "Well, I want to work, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But you need the work permit."
Mm-hmm.
But they cannot apply for work permit now because their asylum papers are not been filed or they have not seen a lawyer, right? So,
Right.
and they've been here for
It
2 weeks,
takes time.
and then they're giving an appointment for another 2 weeks. So before they will see a lawyer, they would have been here for at least 2 to 3 weeks. What are they going to do now? Where are they going to stay? What are going to eat? What are they going to eat? How they're going to feed their kids? Where are they going to stay? The cold weather is coming, so what are they going to wear? So that's a big question now. So where are they going to now? Once they apply for their work permit, it was cut down now to between 150 to 180 days. Okay,
Mm.
so that's, I would say, in a 5 to 6 months they'll be waiting for their work permit.
What
Okay,
are they going to do, right?
and meantime, what are they going to do today? Not one of the newly arrived migrants that we helped apply for his work permit came
Mm-hmm.
and was complaining because it has been 8 months. He said, 8 months since I filed my work permit. I haven't heard from immigration.
Okay.
I said, you have to be patient because
Mm-hmm.
the application for work permit have been covered by so many other applications now. You know,
There's
I mean,
simply so much.
especially with the newly arrived, they applied for work permit.
Hmm.
So the processing, is overloaded. So, and of course, they would say, well, we don't have enough immigration employees to process all these things. So it's a mess. The,
Yes, it's really a hard situation, Father.
yeah, the question is, while they're here
Hmm.
in our midst in New York City, what can we do for them? We might not have the best answers. We might not have everything that they need, but at least we extended help. Some folks.
Yes, the immediate relief. And what is very commendatory is that the community in your church is super generous, super all out. You mobilize resources such as jackets and strollers.
You haven't seen our storage. We have
Oh,
a conference room in the church.
hmm.
The rooms that we've converted into a storage room. So we have all this
So
clothing.
it's all full.
Yep. Yeah, but every time they come here, they get a lot of things. So it's never full. It's just that you
Oh,
the nations keep on coming. For example, today I got a phone call. That's why I was delayed because there was another group from
hmm.
upstate New York who are coming tomorrow to
Okay.
deliver some items.
Speaking of that, Father, can you tell me the address of the migrant center
It's
of New York so that I can post it here?
135
135.
135
Mm-hmm.
West 31st Street,
Mm-hmm. NYC.
New York,
Uh-huh.
and
What is the zip code?
the zip code is 10001. The telephone number
Mm-hmm.
is 212-736
736.
8500, extension 32, no, no, so extension 377.
Okay. So
Okay.
I'll just put
We
that out.
Yeah, maybe before you write down the telephone number under the paragraph in closed parentheses, you would say between 6th and 7th avenues.
All right. Between 6 and 7. Perfect. Okay, here we go. So we'll post that so people can. Oh, no, no, this is not the one. There. If you have donations, please kindly send it to the Migrant Center of New York. It's on 135 West 31st Street, New York City, 10001. That's between 6 and 7 avenues. And you can also call 212-736-8500 extension 377. So you have to look for Father Julian Agudilla.
And if I'm not around, just leave a voice message.
Right. So all the best on this, Father. And so personally, what does this make you feel? Are you overwhelmed? Are you joyful?
It's a mix of a lot of emotions, overwhelmed, nervous, because early on, uh,
Yeah.
one of the one of the things that was difficult at the very beginning, because we promoted this event about maybe 2 weeks ago. We
Uh-huh.
came up with the flyers, and we gave it to them and said we're going to celebrate the Day of the Dead, the Dia de los Muertos, and
Hmm.
they don't RSVP.
Okay.
And I realized that I think RSVP is an American invention.
It's not in their culture.
So at the beginning at around 5:45 when we opened the door, maybe
Mm.
two families walk in, and I said, "We have so much food. I mean,
Uh-huh.
how are we going to consume this? What if only very few people will be left? Will be coming, and we have so much food left over. Oh my God, it's going to be a shame. No, we don't have. Oh my God, at 6 o'clock, droves and droves of people and children came in, children in strollers. Oh my
Yeah.
God. and the room was filled with people. One of the things also that was happy to say is that the volunteers, they were so glad to see all the
Yes.
people. The friars was happy. Oh my God, it's like it's like being hit by reality.
That
It's one thing when you talk about the experience. It's one thing when you talk about people that you don't see or experience that you don't experience. But
right.
here, you know, it's a close encounter of the people that we talk about.
Yes, like you, I see the human face of refugees that we just hear or talk about in the news, Father. And
Yeah,
I'm so glad that you welcome them.
you know what? When we opened the drop-in center, uh, people telling us their stories, and can you just imagine you're crossing and traveling from Venezuela to Colombia to Central America. You may take a bus or a
Yeah,
train, but most of the time you've got to walk with your children.
I know.
Imagine if you have an infant, a 1 year old, or some of them are not only one kid, they have like four children. It's so, how to call this, it brings so much joy to hear people call our names. For example, they would say, "Oh, Padre Julian," now
Uh-huh.
recognize me, and the smiles in their faces. There was there was one boy. He was not satisfied with his prize, a coloring book, and he said, "Can I exchange this?" So I gave him a toy, and he was so happy. A girl got a doll. I mean,
That's
speak
simple
of
joy.
joy, coming from children. You know,
Bless your heart doing that, Father, and all the friars and all the leaders of the church.
yeah. For me, it crystallizes what God said. The
Mm.
love of children. Jesus called the children to Him and
Mm-hmm.
blessed them.
Oh,
Children are
that's,
so innocent.
mm-hmm.
I mean, the joy in their faces. Look at that one saying a pizza for
I
for
know. New
$100.
York pizza. It's so
And
nice. It makes you happy, really joyful, really. I loved looking at everything that had happened, Father. And even if it was in Spanish, my Spanish is very poquito. I couldn't understand. I only do like cuando, but I couldn't even say when did you arrive. I just said cuando, and it was like ah. And so, you know what happened? The lady, the Greece, her name's Greece, she recorded my English question and translated it on her cell phone. She read it in Spanish and answered me in Spanish and translated it in English. And so I was able to know her answer.
great, great.
So that was amazing. That was a very amazing experience through technology that we were able to connect. So
Yep.
were you also like that, Father? You had to use the Google.
Not most of the time. I have I would say a basic
You can
working
speak Spanish.
skill of Spanish. Yeah, my Spanish is quite basic. It needs a lot of practice. But doing this kind of work for 10 years now, uh,
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's quite challenging sometimes. But my problem is sometimes I have to pause and say to myself, "No, what language are we talking now?" You know, am I talking in English, in
Mm-hmm.
Spanish, in Filipino, in
Mm-hmm.
Bisaya, in Kinaraya, in Sina? Oh my
So are you,
God!
your mind is confused?
I would say to myself, okay, hold on a second. Which one now? Let's shift gears here. So
That's amazing how the mind can really program itself, like Father.
sometimes I forget that I'm talking to a Filipino and I was talking in Spanish or
Oh
speaking
my
in English.
God.
All of a sudden, a Philippine word comes out.
It only means you're overwhelmed, Father.
But at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
one thing I would say, I'm going to my room and I'm tired. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
I had a little dinner and I just want to lay down and sleep. And there's that serenity that you experience when you say to yourself, "Today I've done something good that
Yeah.
touched somebody's heart."
Yes, indeed. That's very, very good, Father. It makes you feel good about yourself. Any more parting shots for people out there who wants to help out.
Remember, we are a country of, we are a nation of immigrants. Uh,
Mm.
some came, as they would say, the right way. Others did not come the right way,
Mm.
but they're here. Uh, and as I would say to people most of the time, let us help our brothers and sisters minus the politics. You know, it's not easy. I know. You know, some of us want to be politically correct, but
Mm.
we only have to believe on what Jesus said. You know, that when he was a stranger, we welcomed him. When he was hungry, we feed him. When he was thirsty, we gave him something to drink. And I think we encountered Jesus and our brothers and sisters in need.
Thank you, Father, for that inspiring closing. And I wish you all the best, and also the entire Migrant Center and Franciscan Church.
Yep, yep. Keep us in your prayers, and especially when we'll start legal assistance, our
Right.
brothers and sisters will be needing your help.
God bless you and give you more energy.
Hopefully, we'll pray for that. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you, Father. We'll see you again.
See you again. Thanks.
Okay. That was Father Julian Jagudilla of the St. Francis of Assisi and the director of the Migrant Center of New York. So, once again, if you want to provide your gifts, your donations to the Migrant Center, you can go to this address. This is on 135 West 31st Street, New York City 10001. This is between 6th and 7th Avenues. And you can call 212-736-8500 extension 377 and look for Father Julian for your schedule of giving your donations. Thank you so much for that, Father Julian, and all the best. God bless the church and God bless people with kind hearts. So it's a long shot for these immigrants, ladies and gentlemen. They're asylum seekers, but it takes time, the documentation, writing of affidavits, and then filing it to the with the USCIS. It takes time, and yet needs are immediate. Food, clothing, shelter. So any help is really, really welcome. So thank you also to Commissioner of Migrant Affairs for the New York City, Commissioner Manuel Castro, for your very, very in-depth analysis and assurance of support for the newly arrived immigrants. So it's not easy. It's hard on everyone. So I think things will get better if we all help each other. So for now, that's it for this afternoon. Thank you so much for your time. And we'll see you again in our other episodes here in Conversations with MM. Take care, everyone. And keep on keeping on, keep safe, keep the faith, keep on loving.